Welcome to Sportsline, brought to you by Ace Hardware, New Kensington, AKLC Studios in Leechburg, Arnold Furniture, 5th Avenue, Buffalo Bills, New Kensington, Fazio's Deli and Meats in Arnold, Highland Tire, Toronto and Natrona Heights, Mattio's Pizza and Subs, Breckenridge Heights, Resevich Family Funeral Homes, Lower Burl in Arnold, 380 Discount Warehouse, Murraysville, Tower Auto in Blawnox, and Westmoreland Insurance Services of New Kensington. Thank you for bringing us into your living rooms tonight,
Yes.
or wherever your television set may be, or your computer.
You could be on the porch. You could, I don't know. It might be raining
Absolutely,
right now.
yeah, it could be.
Stormy out there.
Yeah, we welcome you to Sportsline Trivia. Bob Tattern here. Mike Pavlik joins me tonight, and we've got a bunch of things on the docket. Antonio Brown could be a holdout.
I love holdouts. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, and he may have some fan sympathy working for him on this
He
one.
might.
You know, but I think people generally take a look at it from this standpoint. Gosh, he's making an awful lot of money. How much does he want?
Well,
You know?
he wants what other guys that are up in his, what you would call his pay grade, are making, and he's not making that right now. But the problem is, he signed a 6-year contract, and so you know they're.
And when you think about that, Mike, pardon me, but when you think about that, you're saying to yourself, if I get better at what I'm doing, I can't ask for a raise. I'm locked in. Why don't I take a 1-year contract or 2 year? The longer the better for the player.
I don't get too fired up about these things because they always work themselves out one way or the other.
Yeah.
And I also have I think a lot of times guys just don't want to go to training camp. Heinz Ward did that. Heinz Ward got to skip the worst part of training camp when he had his. It's like, I'm sure it'll work out in the end. At least I hope so.
Let's take a look at the rules and regulations on winning a prize. If you so desire to take a shot at that when you call the program, you can only win every other week. The Grand Salami or the Mystery Profile can only be won once in a calendar month. You can try the Mystery Profile once in a calendar month, and if you want to get, the multiple choice questions, we give you 15 seconds, Grand Salami at 20. Mystery Profile, clue by clue, and the first-time callers will get more than one prize. By the way, last week, Rich from Cheswick won too, do you remember?
Yes.
Because he chimed in with something that we challenged him with.
Helped us out. Yeah.
Okay. First-time callers, 2 or more prizes, as we mentioned. You get the answers to the trivia questions on my website, doubledribblebob.com, and if you tune in on the weekend of my Sports Nostalgia and Sports History radio show, you go to WAVL. By the way, the hot dog guys used to be on that station too.
How about
you
that?
know, they were the morning duo. They were the Bogut and Bogut of radio. Anyway, the hot dog guys helping out tonight here in the program. Let's take a break, Mike. We'll come back. Tony is on the line.
Yes. We have lots going on.
Tony,
too.
you should have absolutely nothing to complain about tonight.
Well, you might want to complain about the Antonio Brown thing.
Yeah.
And that I can understand. Things looking good for the Pens. They've evened the series. They have game 3 tonight. And the Buccos have won 3 in a row to get themselves back to 6. Remember last year, they got off to that terrible start in April, but they were 6-3. And then so there's still time for this not to be a good start. We need to be heads above water after we get to the end of April here. We'll see if they can hang on. But pitching's been really good so far, so we'll see if I can keep up.
All right, break time. We're coming back in a flash right here on Sportsline Trivia. The number to call to be part of the program, 724-236-0430. Back in a moment. Since 1914, the local area has relied on the Resevich family of funeral homes in deepest times of need. The Resevich family is the oldest established name in the funeral profession in the AK Valley, now 100 years strong and still doing things right. Its reputation and unquestionable service now continues with a fourth generation. The Rusevich family of funeral homes, 5th Avenue Arnold and Leechburg Road in Lower Borough.
AKLC Studios LLC is the place for your video and multimedia needs. Let AKLC Studios produce a unique television commercial for your business. At your location or in our studios, we're here to meet your needs. Ever want your own television show? Let us show you how. AKLC Studios LLC can even tape your special events and weddings. Whatever your multimedia need, call AKLC Studios LLC in Leechburg today. Professional quality at hometown prices. Don't forget to like us on Facebook.
380 Auction and Discount Warehouse, Route 380, Murraysville.
Automotive supplies, groceries, housewares, pet supplies.
All at discount prices.
Sofas, dining tables, recliners, dressers and desks, lamps and end tables.
All at discount prices.
Yard and landscaping supplies, special catalog orders, mattresses with full warranties.
All at discount prices.
School supplies, tools, paint, toiletries, model cars, toys.
All at discount prices. Get to 380 Auction and Discount Warehouse today, Route 380, Murraysville.
A pizza shop is a pizza shop until you get the Mattios. All right? Great stuff. And they have won awards. As an example, in 2013, they took the silver prize for the best pizza shop. In 2014, they walked away with 3. They won the gold for the best sandwich. They won the silver for the best pizza shop again. And then on the Star 100.7, that's CBS Radio in Pittsburgh, they won that year, that's 2014, they won that year's Voters' Choice for the best pizza in the Burg. That's a lot of prizes. They take pride in what they do. Give them a call, 724-904-7312. We join Tony on the phone right now. Tony, it's nice to have you with us. Welcome.
To be here.
Good evening.
You hear me?
Yeah, could we make Tony a little louder, please? I'm having a little bit of trouble.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just said it's
There
nice
you
to
go.
be here.
That sounds better.
All right.
Thanks.
Now, you think the Penguins finally woke up?
Well, here's my next question. Bob and I talked about this earlier. Have the Rangers woke up? See, that's the other equation in this. We always look from one side. I still think the Penguins can play better than they played. I know the Rangers can play better than they played. So, did that get the Rangers' attention? Is my question, and we'll
All
see.
right. Consider this.
I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
room for improvement with the Rangers because on 12 power plays, they've only scored 2.
Well, that plagued the Penguins for a while too, didn't it?
It sure did.
On their power plays. But in the meantime, I don't know if you've seen this play, but Penguins are coming down 3-on-1. And Malkin passes a beautiful pass to Crosby. He's got a nice shot. What's he do? He passes it back to Malkin.
I
And Malkin
remember
looked
that.
at him like, what the heck are you doing?
It was one too many. I remember that. Yeah.
Remember that? I mean, I can understand it. Shoot the puck.
I heard Malka talk about that this morning, and he says, I passed to Sid to get hat trick. You don't get too many hat trick in playoff. And then he passed it back to me, and I'm thinking, why you pass it back to me? So even he's, even he couldn't figure it out. He figured I passed to Sid for hat trick. It was like, well, Sid, shoot the puck, bud. Yeah.
Well, they do too much of that. I'm going to tell you the truth. I mean, Crosby's a sharpshooter. If if he hits the puck, I think he should shoot.
Yeah.
Especially in that situation.
Right. But they
now, Bob, you said I had nothing to complain about. There you go.
Yeah.
I have something to complain about.
There's lots, and they're taking too many penalties, Tony. They can't get it.
Oh my God!
Away with
Yes.
And here's the thing. They show the replay on every one of them, and you go, yeah, that was a
Oh yeah.
But my question is, when are they going? When is everything the Rangers do going to start to get called? And
here, you know what the problem is? I think is remember when they had that little tussle with the officials and
right.
I think they're just looking the other way. They have to be.
Carry a grudge, is what you're saying, huh?
Yeah, they have to be looking the other way because boy, that shot Crosby took
That'll have to improve. Oh yeah,
That's not called for.
and I wonder exactly how all right he is too. By the way, because they're not going to.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Speaking of that, I
he
guess-
finished the game in that, but
Yeah, Ehrhoff had come back. Ehrhoff's situation right now reminds me of Crosby's a couple of years ago when he looked like he was working himself back into the lineup, and then they'd have to shut him back down. Ehrhoff got shut back down again today, and I wouldn't expect to see him at all now. He gets up to a certain level of exertion, and I guess the symptoms come back, and you have to be careful with these. And so it looks like he's going to, he's been shut down again. And Mike Johnson had a funny line. I don't know if it was meant to be funny. He goes, his recovery flatline. So when you're talking about somebody's health, you don't want to use the term flatline. I don't know.
well, I mean, you remember good old Gretzky? You couldn't get within 5 feet of him.
No, you couldn't. Not with those guys. And
No.
they had guys that were just muscle, and they had like Semenko and Dave Lumley, and they had guys that were muscle that would play with him that could also play the game. And guys like Glenn Anderson that had the sharpest set of elbows since Gordie Howe.
Yeah, well, you know what? It reminded me like Gretzky was the Godfather, and I was his henchman.
That's it.
You know,
he was
you don't breathe on him.
He was not to be touched. And
well, those days are over.
Yeah, they are. Well, I'll tell you what, the hockey was so much better back then too because it was just
Yeah,
free flowing.
yeah, that's the truth. It is. It was. But what are you going to do?
We talked about this the other night, Tone. That it's long for hockey in the '80s because at the beginning of the game on Saturday night, they went for almost the whole first period, and there were like 5 shots total. But then somebody pointed this out. There are 30 teams now. In the '80s, there were 21 teams.
Yep.
So
just like baseball, you have too many teams, you thin out the talent.
Thin out the talent pool, and it makes it very difficult.
But even with all these, hockey, hockey's really popular now in the United States. It never was, way back. But it's any sport. When you get to the major leagues and all sports, it isn't that easy. But like I said, with all the teams, they have now, hey, they're making millions. What am I should worry about it?
Exactly.
Speaking of which, that should lead you to your next conversation about Antonio Brown.
Yeah, what's that all about? I didn't hear anything today about that. What's he going to hold out?
Today was the first day that you could have that you could go to the facility and work out. Voluntary workouts. The mandatory minicamp doesn't come until May after the draft and after all the new players will come in. Well, normally he'd be there and he didn't show up today, but if he wouldn't have just shown up today, that wouldn't have been anything and nobody would have even known about it. But I'm assuming that the agent's on the horn making sure that everybody knows that if he doesn't get his contract renegotiated, he's going to hold out. And I enjoy a good holdout every once in a while because like I told Bob earlier, I said a lot of times I think it's because the guys just don't want to go to training camp. But
that's possible. But
if he's serious,
his contract isn't up to when?
2 more years.
3 more years.
Or 3?
Well, that's what I'm talking about. This is ridiculous. Whoever started to renegotiate a contract should have been shot. I worked over 55 years of my life, right? And I was a union guy. We signed a contract after the first year. I didn't say, "Hey, we want to do it over again." Where we would have been.
Because the funny part about this, when people talk about this, is that 2 sides have to agree to this contract. It's not just they didn't make him sign it. He had to sign it, and they had to sign it. They both signed it.
That's right.
Now is he underpaid right now compared to what other receivers like him make? Yeah.
Well, that's his fault if he's underpaid, and his agent.
So is Andrew McCutchen, and I don't see him sitting out. So
yeah, well, there's guys that just love the game, and and then they should be paid well. And there's guys that just it seems like they're just out for the money. I don't know. It's ridiculous.
Tony, here's the.
And it's who ends up paying at the end? The fans. All the time.
Well, but here's what he needs to know. And his agent is Rosenhaus, who's been around forever, and he's got to be smart enough to know this. The Steelers aren't going to play ball here. They're not going to. And I'll take you back. They need to hand him a book, and it's entitled Mike Merriweather, and he can read that one. Because Mike Merriweather, they let him sit for an entire season, and he was easily their best player. They don't play these types of games. Now, if okay, they won't negotiate with him at all if he's not there. That's a given, and they will not change their policy. You know,
Right.
something could happen, like you come in and we'll see what we can do, and maybe we'll extend it at the end. Well, that's one thing. And I think something will probably end up getting worked out in that regard. But the one thing the Steelers don't do, they don't tear up the existing years to actual renegotiate the contract. They don't do that. And that's, you know, he may think, or his agent, oh, you know, we're going to try this, and we're going to make sure and believe me, the Steelers weren't the ones that put this out there. His side did. Wanted everybody to know about it, and eventually, you know, and what's he not going to do? He's not going to miss. He's not going to miss regular season games because he won't get paid.
Tony, in 2012, 13 and 14, he collected about $19.5 million. So let's just say roughly he made $6 million plus for those 3 years. 2012, 13, and 14. He has he will get $6 million this year, 8.25 in 2016, 8.71 in 2017, which is about 23 mil.
Right. The top guys are making about 12 million.
So there's space.
So, but here's the thing though. Here's the one thing too. They're about $9 million under the cap, which is unusual for them. But with Troy retiring, it kind of opened up some room for them. And I think that's why they're jumping on this now. And they also saw Ben get his. Now, his cap hit this year, even though he's only going to make $6 million of actual cash, his cap hit's going to be almost $10 million. So you could see where it would make sense for both sides to say, you know, we'll change this around a little bit, change the money, we'll maybe give you 2 extra years at the end, give you a nice hefty signing bonus now.
Right.
Your salary will be like Ben's salary is $1 million this year. That's Ben's salary, even though the signing bonus, like they handed him a check for like $30 million or whatever it was. But
well, you know what? If they're $9 million under the cap, you know, don't you think his agent don't know that? He doesn't know that.
And they,
you know.
and they do. And like I said, Rosenhaus is kind of slimy, but he wasn't born yesterday. You know, the guy's done a good job for a lot of his clients. So, he kept T.O. in business for a long time. You got to give him credit for that. So.
Yeah.
Tony, are you eligible for anything?
Yeah, for the, you know, the whatever you call it, multiple choice.
The little piddly multiple choice. Okay.
Yeah.
Michael's going to run that by you.
All right, Michael, run
All
it
right,
by
here
me.
we go. Oh, right up at the top of the batting order. And here we go. Question number 1. Since 1900, what major leaguer has scored the most runs in a single season? And here are your choices. Pete Rose, who got a new job, by the way, Babe Ruth, Hank Aaron, and Barry Bonds. Since 1900, what major leaguer has scored the most runs in a single season?
That he scored himself.
Right.
Yes, him, a person.
All right. Well, what did you say? Pete Rose, Babe Ruth?
Hank Aaron, Barry Bonds, not Pipers.
I don't know. Let's go with Barry Bonds.
And, Bob, I don't know the answer.
You don't. It's Pete Rose.
It's Pete Rose, okay.
Oh, it's Pete Rose?
It wasn't marked on my sheet. I could have guessed, too. I could have tried.
Yeah.
Pete Rose is the answer. Did you hear about Pete's new job? Pete
Hey.
got hired by Fox to be in the studio.
Well, that's it.
It was really interesting. They said, well, was this approved by Major League Baseball? And Fox said, we've kept Major League Baseball informed of the process. In other words, no, it wasn't approved by Major League Baseball.
I don't think so.
No, interesting.
Now, how
right,
about
Tony.
Tebow signing with the Philadelphia Eagles?
Yeah. Oh, Tebow?
How long is that going to last?
I don't know. I always root for the kid, though, so I hope he
Oh
does
yeah,
well.
you know, but I
one
think
thing-
just like remember Cordell Stewart, he should have been a wide receiver. I think Tebow should have been a tight end or a running back
Tony,
or something
he's
like that.
built like one. He's bigger than a lot of those guys. Here's my
and
thing.
he could, he's a good runner.
He may, Chip Kelly is not afraid to do things that are outside the normal lines that we color inside.
Right.
And
right.
I think that this may be a case where he might say, okay, this is my quarterback on 3rd and 1. And he just
All
may
right,
put him
guys,
in there as
I
a package
appreciate
on short yard. Remember how Lou Holtz was a genius. When they had Tony Rice and they were winning national championship with him, how they would always run the option down on the goal line with Tony Rice because they knew because it wasn't stopped.
Yeah. They knew he could put it in.
Exactly.
That's true.
And he didn't necessarily trust him to throw the ball down the field a lot.
And that was 1988.
Yes. And
that was their last national championship.
And that's what he's not going to trust Tim to throw the ball.
No.
And this just might be okay. I got short yardage. He's a bull. He can run like a bull. and he could throw a jump pass maybe people wouldn't look for. I'll be interested to see. He's not going to start. I mean, I can't.
No, he's quarterback number 4 in camp.
But they may have some sort of a deal where he could have a package like the Jets promised but never gave him.
Well, let me give you a little tidbit before I leave about that 88 team.
Uh-huh.
The following year, and you tell me how many colleges would do this. The following year, everybody was eligible to come back except one guy. And the school said, no, it's not fair to the other football players moving up.
Really?
Really. How many schools would have done that?
Hey, they didn't. I mean, back then they still didn't redshirt, did they?
Yeah.
I don't think they did. That's why. That's what you're talking about. I went to a game the next year. I remember they were just recruiting Rick Meyer, and he was going to be the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah.
And I saw Bettis and all those guys, and they pounded Pitt that day. I'll never forget that.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Tony, thanks for the call, pal.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Take care.
Quick break. Mike and I are coming back, and I think, is Rich on the line? Rich from Freeport, our weatherman, going to break the news to us.
It's a good night for him.
We'll be back right after this.
Parkview Tavern on First Avenue in Breckenridge has 16-ounce Budweiser and Bud Light drafts for just $1.50 all day, every day. Just $1.50. Stop by the Parkview Tavern on First Avenue and enjoy a cold Bud Light. Here we go.
Westmoreland Insurance Services isn't like your ordinary insurance agency. Not only can you get a variety of quotes from leading insurance companies, but you can purchase that protection through Westmoreland Insurance. Accidents happen. Are you prepared? You can be with a wide range of homeowners insurance options from Westmoreland Insurance Services. Putting your family's safety in their family's hands for almost 40 years. Give them a call, 724-337-3557. My First Book on Sports is available not only through the internet, but at various local businesses in the AK Valley. It's Bob Tattern's Sports Minutes. Short sports stories, odd and unusual, fascinating and funny, only take about a minute to read. Go online to doubletripplebob.com where links are provided for Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Word Association to get book information. Get your copy locally at Costello Printing in Tarentum, Blackburn's in Tarentum, Myrna's Brewery Outlet in New Kensington, or the Hot Dog Guys Lower Borough.
Parkview Tavern on First Avenue in Breckenridge has 16-ounce Budweiser and Bud Light drafts for just $1.50 all day, every day. Just $1.50. Stop by the Parkview Tavern on First Avenue and enjoy a cold Bud Light. Here we go.
All right, folks, we are back, and we welcome Rich from Freeport. Rich, great to have you on the show. I haven't heard you in a good while. Good to have you with us.
I've been in Latin America scouting players for the Pirates. So it's taken me a lot. In the wintertime I get down and scout for the Pirates. So
at least the weather's good.
Yeah, I got to check in with Renee down there and make sure everything's working okay. So
hey, I sat behind Renee for an inning in Florida. What a piece of work.
I'll tell you what.
He's terrific, and I'll tell you what, I had never seen anybody switch from Spanish to English so fast in a conversation. Talking to the guy he was sitting next to in a deep Spanish conversation, and I had said something, and he turned around and with English, and he started going, and he talked to everybody, and he was great. I told him, and you know what I told him? I said, I don't know what they pay you, but it's not enough.
It's not enough.
He goes, and he pointed to Huntington. He goes, he's down there. Go tell him.
Right. It's not enough. Watching that outfield play, it's not enough.
It's not enough.
That's actually what I wanted to talk about was, I think the Pirates this year probably have the most talent they've had since 91 or 92, probably 91, because that team was unbelievable. But you have that outfield. You've got Harrison at third, leading off. I was just the other day when they were playing the Brewers, and I'm sitting there, and I'm just thinking, you get Harrison leading off, you get him on base, you get Polanco somehow on base. Now you got guys running all over the bases. The pitcher has no idea what to do. Then you throw McCutchen in the third spot. And if Alvarez could just find it, that team's going to be really good all year long.
I think it can hit, Rich. I really do. They remind me of the teams in the 70s, the Lumber Company teams. Not the two teams that won the World Series, but the teams in between.
Right.
That had a pretty fearsome lineup, a lineup that could get you and mediocre pitching. They're gonna torture mediocre pitching.
Isn't it amazing, Jeff Locke, as soon as Burnett comes back, Jeff Locke's a completely different guy. I mean, every game he's sitting there and they show the dugout and he's talking to AJ, just talking to A constantly. I mean, he's a different guy on the mound with AJ here for whatever reason. He just really looks up to the guy.
Well, I hope
and I think that was probably part of the reason why they brought him back, because they needed a spot, obviously. But
right.
And, you know, I just can't. I tell you, Mike and Bob, I just can't wait for Charlie Morton's return. I mean, I sit by with a candle in my window every night hoping Charlie Morton will come back, because it's going to be great after his first 3 innings and then he gets hurt or gives up batting practice or something like that. But it's just going to be fantastic when Charlie Morton comes back.
It's a better rotation without him. And frankly, and this is another thing. We were at the game yesterday, a bunch of us, and we're talking about this. And I said, you know, show me where Charlie Morton has ever been as good of a pitcher as Vance Worley's been. And Vance Worley's not exactly Warren Spahn out there. I mean, but Vance Worley had an ERA last year of 2.85 in starting half of the season for them. When did Charlie Morton ever put that together?
And the reason, I would say, part of the reason of that is Vance Worley's not afraid of contact. He's not afraid to throw to contact. Charlie Morton is terrified of contact.
And you know,
he just cannot let the bat hit the ball.
You can learn a lot from a guy like Worley too, because he only throws it about 88. And guess what? Chances are, you know, they're going to hit some hard and they're going to put some in play and they're going to get some hits off of them. But he knows the chances are it's an out when they hit it.
Right. And the way that infield, I mean, just the defense, just the way they're playing defense too, that just helps so much, because I mean, it was 2 years ago or something, I think, that they had the best stat for balls in play, where the ball in play is caught by a defender or played by a defender, which is a huge thing to help the pitching, obviously. But you know, that solid defense that you have on the infield really makes up a lot, and for those pitchers, because they keep everything down, keep everything on the ground.
Well, they'll need to get themselves on a little roll here, because the Cardinals are out doing what they do already, and you don't want to let anybody get out of touch. And the division's improved.
And Wainwright's is.
And Wainwright's. I was going to say the division's improved. I don't know if it's improved, but I think it's different. I think that basically the Cubs are now going to take Milwaukee's spot, and I don't think the Reds are any good myself. I really don't. But you know, that remains to be seen.
The Reds have no pitching except for Cueto. Literally except for Cueto.
Over months.
Name not to be mentioned at the back end of the bullpen. That's it. That's all they have.
Well, and think about this. You know, and we said this here on opening night, that, yeah, they have, what's his name, Chapman at the end, who's an excellent relief pitcher, but they have Kevin Gregg pitching the 8th inning. Now, come back to me in 4 months and show me what their bullpen looks like if Kevin Gregg pitches every 8th inning that they've had. You're not going to hold leads. It's the same as Broxton with Milwaukee. Jonathan Broxton's a 8th inning guy. I mean, you can't win like that.
Well, and I really think, and here's my hope, is I have no problem with Melanson. But I don't think he's a closer. Maybe he is, but I don't think he is. I'm just hoping Caminero keeps coming along, and then toward halfway through the year, that's our new closer. Because, boy, if he can find the strike zone consistently, that guy has unbelievable stuff.
I saw him in Florida, and there were no radar guns in the stadium, but I got to the point where I took my binoculars and was actually cheating off of the radar gun of the scouts. Bruce Keeson's radar gun I was using, you know.
I mean, and he throws that cutter in that comes in towards the right-hander at 91 miles an hour, and you cannot hit that pitch.
TV doesn't show you how much his ball moves. And I'm even talking about just his regular four-seam fastball that he was taught. By the way, we've also come to the conclusion that the miles per hour that you see that they use the cameras to get on television are probably 2 to 3 miles an hour higher than what you get off the old-fashioned gun.
Okay.
And why is that?
I don't know why, because they use cameras to get the one on television. They don't use a gun. They use cameras to get those. And
well, remember when I think it was Jeff Bannister said last year when Chapman was recorded at 105 or something, and someone asked him and says, "Have you ever seen someone throw that hard 105?" He says, "I still haven't."
No, exactly. And
because he knows that's not true. It's not the right speed.
I really think what you see on television, which are taken by the two cameras that get it, and you know, I heard Bob Locke talking about this. Exactly, where is that? Is that coming out of his hand, or is that when it gets to the plate?
Right.
Because those are two different speeds also.
Absolutely.
But,
and guys that throw. There's guys that when they release the ball, it's at top speed halfway, and there's guys when they release the ball, that it just explodes when it gets to the catcher's mitt.
I'll tell you what I said about Caminero. It's moving when it gets there, and the four-seamer's moving when it gets there, and it's up, and it's difficult to. And he was changing the speeds on his fastball, and he's still doing it now. When he got to 2 strikes, there'd be an extra 2 or 3 miles an hour coming, and the batters weren't ready for that. And
right.
He won me over that day, and and we walked out of there and said, well, this guy can't go anywhere. I mean, you can't. That's even if he's the guy relegated to coming in when we're losing. You know, I want to give him a chance, and he's worked himself into. He's pitching when they're ahead now.
Well, yeah, and the thing is, they're going to have to work him into. Right now, they're trying to keep the pressure low. They're going to have to start working him in higher situations,
Slowly,
which is sort of what they did with a couple of the other young guys. Just slowly work them into higher, like with Watson. They slowly worked him into higher pressure situations. And then by the after time that they'll be okay to handle that, because Watson's just, I mean, I know he wasn't very good in Cincinnati, but boy, he comes in, it's just like shut down. It's just 1, 2, 3. Let's move on. That's all it is with him anymore.
Caminero's control was perfectly good the other night when he wanted to hit Ryan Braun on the leg.
Oh, yes. It was fantastic.
That was beautiful. And business taken care of. That's it. I said, boy, and I heard this yesterday that somebody, you win a lot of friends in the clubhouse when you do that too.
Right, just like Zach Duke. Remember that fiasco with Zach Duke?
Well, who mentioned it today? Josh Miller this morning on the Fan. He says, yeah. He goes the anti-James McDonald, I guess, because he wouldn't do it either.
Quickly on the Penguins. Remember when the Penguins were good and we thought they were going to go to the Stanley Cup and all that? Mm-hmm. And we always said, well, at least I did, always said, boy, there's that one series you got to get through, and if you get through that series, you really got a good chance to go all the way. And that is the Rangers and the Penguins right now.
That's what I said earlier. I said, if the Penguins woken up, and my question is if the Rangers woken up.
Right.
And did game 2? Because really, the Penguins have been the better team for the last 5 periods.
Sure, they have. And the Rangers have been sleepwalking for 5 periods.
Yes, they have. And frankly, they probably sleepwalked through the first period of the first game too. They got that first goal. And here's the other thing, though. And the reason I wasn't sure was because when it was 2-1, first of all, when the Rangers got up 2-0, the game was over.
Right.
And it was, and they knew we have a Mike Choma has when we do the basketball games, and he'll say that when the coaches they start passing the ball around on the outside basketball, and he'll say he knows he has enough. The Rangers knew they had enough when they had to, and because the Penguins don't come back in games like this.
Exactly.
So we'll see. Tonight's going to be really interesting. I got to figure the Rangers are going to bring it up to a higher level. We'll see if the Pens can match it. I'm not sure.
Well, and the thing is, here's the funny thing. I think the best player on that team is Fleury, and I think the Rangers in the back of their head are thinking, is this guy going to steal this series? Is he going to play well enough? Because really, in that first period of the first game, it could have been 5-6 to nothing.
It could have been.
If it wasn't for Fleury.
And conversely, you don't have Lundqvist at the top of his game right now because he just hasn't had the games in. I mean, he really pretty much sat most of the entire second half of the season, and you can't expect him to be in mid-season form. And I really don't think he is. And I think that's kind of the undertone you're kind of getting on them is how exactly is Lundqvist. Now, he's coming into his happy place because he pretty much owns Consol, so we'll see what happens the next 2 nights. But it's funny, we talked about it. They would, in the years past, they wouldn't go to dirty areas. They wouldn't do the things necessary to win these games. And here they are, the underdog, and they're doing all that.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, the way I look at it too is if the Penguins, which is what ticks me off with the NHL, if the Penguins are allowed to skate and they don't do this constant interference crap and let them get away with it, the Penguins can play that game. But when they do that interference stuff, for some reason, whatever it may be, the Penguins don't play that game well. No. They either get frustrated or whatever it may be, but they just don't play that game well. And so they can't continue this lopsided penalty thing. And I don't know, is that the referees or is that, I don't know. But whatever. They can't continue that because you just can't sustain, what is it, 12-3 or something like that?
2.
Yeah.
2 out of 12 is what.
You can't sustain that, and you can't keep your best players. Although Mike Johnson woke up from his slumber and said, maybe I should put my best offensive player on the penalty kill and get him some more ice time.
Those guys can kill penalties too.
Maybe I should do that. That might get him on the ice a little more.
I'm for it.
Rich, I got to call a timeout here. We got to do trivia.
All right. Since I haven't called in a long time, and I feel that all that time in Latin America has given my knowledge just a big boost, I'm going to go for the mystery profile.
All right, let me run that one by you. It is sponsored, of course, by the good folks at Mattio's Pizza. And you've been there before. I know you've won.
Yep. Very
Okay.
good. Excellent.
All right, first clue. If you get it on the first clue, it's $100. And here we go. I was a Heisman Trophy winner whose NFL career was cut short because of injuries in an auto accident.
Doc Blanchard?
Nope. Let's go to clue number 2, worth 75. When first drafted by an NFL team, I turned to a different sport to play professionally.
Wow.
I have a hunch you're a little bit too young for this one.
Maybe.
However,
Could be.
I will say this. He played for the Pirates. That's part of our third clue. I played Major League Baseball with a National League team.
Yeah, I think I'm dated. I'm dated here.
And he's not
Well, I
a
don't
Latin
know.
American either. Not a Rene Gallo guy.
Shall I go to the next clue? Give me a
Sure,
wild
go
guess.
ahead. I'll give it a shot.
Okay, next clue. After 2 years with the Pittsburgh Pirates, I went back to the NFL. And here's what happened. He spent the end of this NFL season with the Washington Redskins. In the following spring, when they were getting ready, he was in that terrible car crash and wound up with a horrific concussion, and it was the end of the career.
Boy, I don't know. I'm sorry. I've lost.
Okay.
I don't know. I do not know who that is.
He is the only, this is not on the screen, but he is the only Heisman Trophy winner that ever played for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Here is your Tinker Toy clue. He played his college football for Woody Hayes at Ohio State. We're looking at like 1950 when he won the Heisman.
Yeah, okay. You got me on this one because it's usually the baseball questions, and now you give me something that has a little football in it, and I can't get it.
Okay, Vic Janowitz.
No idea.
Vic Janowitz,
he
well,
catcher?
Hey, by the way, before I go, fall returns this week. I hope you all enjoy it.
I know it's going to get chilly, but that's okay. It was really nice over the weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be in the 40s on Wednesday, so it'll just be lovely.
thanks for the forecast,
Thanks.
Rich.
All right, guys, have a great week.
All right,
Thanks.
we got to run, and up next, I believe, is
Mr. Tampa.
Mr. Tampa Bay. Okay,
I have a Penguin lineup change for tonight when we come back.
all right, let's
Hang
do
on there
that.
for that. Oh, Corey is
Oh,
next.
okay, Mr. Corey is going to be next, so stay with us, folks, and we'll be right back. Welcome to Buffalo Bill's Roadhouse, the place for big appetites. Their great sandwich selection includes the Geronimo, piled high with generous portions of meat and fixings. Their barbecue ribs are the best in town. Half rack or full rack, they don't come better. Buffalo Bill's wings are everybody's favorite. Uniquely oven-baked, not deep-fried, and yet so crispy. Your choice of 13 flavored seasonings. Grab a bucket for the big game. Eat in or take out, credit cards accepted. Buffalo Bill's Roadhouse, Freeport Road, New Kensington, across from Felderelli Square.
For over 38 years and 3 generations, Arnold Furniture has been the area's favorite furniture store. We have over 4 floors of living rooms, dining rooms, recliners, bedding, carpeting, and so much more.
You'll always find friendly personal service from one of the family.
And our prices consistently beat the competition, plus free local delivery and free setup guaranteed. Visit Arnold Furniture online at arnoldfurnitureinc.com or stop in and see us today.
AKLC Studios LLC is the place for your video and multimedia needs. Let AKLC Studios produce a unique television commercial for your business. At your location or in our studios, we're here to meet your needs. Ever want your own television show? Let us show you how. AKLC Studios LLC can even tape your special events and weddings. Whatever your multimedia need, call AKLC Studios LLC in Leechburg today. Professional quality at hometown prices. Don't forget to like us on Facebook.
Why do my customers choose Husqvarna Power Equipment?
And that's easy, because my landscaping crew has to rely on a durable product.
I need the performance and quality that Husqvarna provides.
And the innovative products that help me move on with my day.
For maintenance parts or accessories, I don't have to go far. I know my Husqvarna dealer is right around the corner. Make the impossible possible and visit a Husqvarna dealer near you.
All right, don't forget my radio show Saturday mornings on WAVL, 10 o'clock in the morning. And on the dial, on the AM dial, they are 910. It's where the hot dog guys used to be at one time.
They did this.
Yeah.
Hey, Penguin lineup change?
Yeah, let's do that.
Bo Bennett, upper body injury, will not play.
Oh, boy.
I think they could have probably just scratched him anyway. It wouldn't have made much difference. I think he only played 5 minutes last game. Maybe he got hurt. Scott Wilson's going to play. This will be his. He played one game earlier in the season, played maybe 5 or 6 minutes into the first period. I think he took 1 or 2 shifts and got hurt and never got to come back. He had a pretty nice year for Wilkes-Barre. So Scott Wilson's in there tonight, and he's going to be with Sutter and Downey on the third line. So.
Okay, let's go to Mark. Mark in New Kensington. Good evening.
Good evening, fellas.
Good evening, sir.
All right.
Hey, who do you think threw a faster baseball, Don Drysdale or Juan Marichal back in the 60s?
Wait, can I ask the engineers, are we boosted all the way up with sound? Are we okay? Go ahead, Mark. Who was the Marichal and who?
Don Drysdale. Who do you think was a faster, had the faster pitch?
Probably Drysdale.
This is your question.
Yeah.
I didn't see.
I'm going to say probably Drysdale, although Marichal, God, I just read something the other day about him.
He had that crazy wind-up, right, Bob? Like
he did.
Yeah.
He had that, the big leg kick.
Yeah.
And compared that with Warren Spahn, some did. But my gut feeling tells me that Drysdale was faster.
Okay, and then...
I could be wrong.
And then Bob Feller was supposedly, he could throw 100 miles an hour for a while.
Oh, yes,
the one
indeed.
that they clocked, they had a film on TV or something one time when they filmed slow motion and they were showing him throwing something, and I guess a car was going, or a motorcycle or something, parallel, and they said he could throw close to 100 miles an hour.
Well, the motorcycle, I forget. Yeah, you're right. It was up around there. Yeah.
Somewhere. Okay.
Hey, Garrett Cole got to 99 yesterday, and I haven't seen Caminero pitch at PNC Park yet, so we'll see that hit 3 digits for sure.
I know the show's running a little late. I don't want to get. And then one other question. Then, why did the Pirates are dugout is third base? Correct.
Yeah.
Why don't they like first base so the players don't have to quite run as much if they make it out during the season? That's, they're running enough. But what's the reasoning for third versus first? They ever say that?
I remember asking one of the managers back in the day when the Pirates were at Three Rivers, and the response was the reason that they were at first base, they could see directly down the line to the left field bullpen. That was their decision making right there.
Yeah, I'm not exactly
but here,
sure. Now they had third base. They had first base dugout at Forbes Field too, correct? They were at first base.
Yeah, I think they were first base at Forbes Field.
And I'm not exactly sure why they picked the third base. This may have just been logistics, Mark. This might be something as simple as that there was more room. Think about the way PNC Park is built. Underneath the first base boxes is where they have the big, is where the parking garage is for the players and everyone. And they store, I think the batting cages might be stored underneath. That there just may be more room for a bigger clubhouse, the indoor batting cage, the medical facilities and all of that. It just may be, it's just more, it makes more sense to have all that underneath the third base seats, and then therefore you want the dugout coming off of there. It may be as simple as that. As a matter of fact, I think I might have heard something like that. The big parking garage is underneath the first base boxes.
Okay, I just was always curious. I'm just thinking it would save the guys. You're running enough during the season. You make it out, you got to run an extra 100, some feet back to the dugout.
I never thought of it that way, but you make a point. I never thought of it.
No.
I just figured it was, it just seemed that normally that it would be first base, and there was, very few, the Dodgers and the Cubs I think might have been the only two there for a while that had third base as their dugout, and you don't know why that would be. There could be any number of reasons for that.
Okay, and then one other quick TV question: how come the Cubs aren't on WGN anymore? For how we used to see so many games a year. Now I noticed on the schedule they're not on any game here anymore.
Nope, there are no Cubs and no White Sox on GN anymore. TBS went away. They pulled the Cubs and the White Sox off of WGN America for one reason and one reason only: that they get better ratings. That they show a rerun of Pick Something. They show a rerun of Andy Griffith.
Or Walker, Texas Ranger.
They could show a rerun of Chuck Norris, and they're getting a better number.
Well, I know because I had called satellite dish just to see, and he said there's two feeds or whatever they call it, WGN. We get the America, where the people in Chicago still get their sports on regular WGN. I guess if that makes sense.
And it just isn't making any sense for them. And frankly, I think a lot of it too has to do with you can buy the package, the MLB package through your cable company and get every game. And now this way, that's kind of protected under that umbrella.
Oh, okay, maybe that's why the MLB network.
You can still, if you want to see the Cubs, now buy the package, and then you can see the Cubs.
Well, I mean, I used to like watching them when the Pirates weren't on. If they're different times, just
well,
something
you know
extra.
what? And tonight, here this week, is where it comes into effect, because with the Penguins and Pirates having a conflict here on Monday and Wednesday, neither of those two games, Pirate games, are going to be on television. If GN's televising them, they're only going to be shown back in Chicago, and we won't be able to get them here.
Well, okay, I guess I'll be going for multiple choice then.
All right, Michael, I believe.
It is my turn.
Yeah.
Let's go, Mark. Let's get one. Who is the only player to be named MVP or MOP of the NCAA Final Four basketball tournament?
Did I put that in there?
3 times. Only player to be the most valuable player of the Final Four 3 times. Here are your choices: Larry Bird, Jerry West, Jerry Lucas, or Lou Alcindor.
How about Jerry West?
It is not. It is Lou Alcindor, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who had quadruple bypass surgery this week.
Oh, yeah, Kareem, okay.
Yeah.
I'm basketball, I'm not the greatest on.
3 times. Hey, 3 times, which have been the only 3 years he played, because freshmen couldn't go back then. And and you think he'd have played up till his senior year in this day and age? I don't think so.
Not for millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Okay, you fellas have a good week, and thank you very much.
Nice to hear from you, Mark. Thank you.
Break time. And we'll be back after the break with our next caller. So stay with us here on Comcast Cable and streaming live around the world. Back in a moment.
Parkview Tavern on First Avenue in Breckenridge has 16-ounce Budweiser and Bud Light drafts for just $1.50 all day, every day. Just $1.50. Stop by the Parkview Tavern on First Avenue and enjoy a cold Bud Light. Here we go.
This is where you get the absolute freshest deli meats and cheeses. Fazio's Italian Deli in Arnold. At Fazio's, you're getting only the best and freshest selection. Fazio's has its own bakery and offers you fresh baked bread, rolls, pastries, and more. Pick up individual salads to go, Italian sausages, hoagies, custom-made sandwiches, even party trays for your next get-together. Freshness and quality every time at Fazio's Italian Deli, Leishman and Dre in Arnold. Westmoreland Insurance Services isn't like your ordinary insurance agency. Not only can you get a variety of quotes from leading insurance companies, but you can purchase that protection through Westmoreland Insurance. Westmoreland provides a full range of coverage for all of your automobile needs. Westmoreland Insurance Services, putting your family's safety in their family's hands for almost 40 years. Give them a call, 724-337-3557.
Parkview Tavern on First Avenue in Breckenridge has 16-ounce Budweiser and Bud Light drafts for just $1.50 all day, every day. Just $1.50. Stop by the Parkview Tavern on First Avenue and enjoy a cold Bud Light. Here we go.
All right, welcome back, folks, and we're in the last segment of the program.
Flying by tonight. Thanks to everybody that called.
Thank you.
Makes it go fast.
Mr. Tampa Bay, welcome.
Hey, guys, how you doing?
Doing fine.
You know, everybody's talking about Penguins having life. I don't see it happen. Crosby scored 2 goals in 19 games. in playoff games, should I say. That's not a winning series here. And I think the Rangers are going to come in and win the next 3 games and put them away.
That could happen. I like I said earlier, I'll be interested to see how the Rangers react to losing the last game. And you know, when you looked at the way that the Penguins played coming down the stretch, there wasn't a whole lot to like. And they've certainly played better. They got a few bounces. They got a couple to go in, which is what they needed. They got Kunitz back off the schneid, which was nice. They got him back with Crosby. We'll see if that continues to reap dividends for them. But I just don't think we've seen the best that the Rangers have to offer yet. And that's, you know, and that's when you'll see, because if both teams are playing at their peak efficiency, the Rangers are a better team. But upsets happen, and you know, stuff, crazy things that you don't expect to happen. That's why we watch. So
right, but what really makes me mad, okay, on this whole network channel stuff, it's baseball season. Root Sports should be televising the Pittsburgh Pirates, not the Penguins. NBC had it on their channel, and they blacked it out in Pittsburgh because of the Root Sports. I thought NBC had all the playoff games. NBC, NBC.
Signed contract with Root Sports. Here's the deal. If there's ever, between the Pirates and the Penguins, if there's ever a conflict, the Penguins get the channel. Anytime. At any time. And if it's playoff, how about, I mean, and that's the contracts that were signed. And Root's not going to, they're allowed to televise games in the first round and the second round. They're not going to give up their opportunity to sell advertising and make a lot of money for playoff games just so the Pirate game can be on. They'll draw a bigger number showing the hockey game. They'll draw more viewers, and they'll make more money. And that's just the way it is. And the Pirates understand that. And frankly, Frank Coonley signed the deal. So if you got a beef, it's with him. I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
It is.
I'm sorry to say, I'm not going to watch the Penguin game tonight.
I'm with you.
I would like to have
I'd like to have the choice to flip.
But there is a WGN on DirecTV that I could watch the Pirate game on. It's up in the 200-300. I'm going to look for it tonight. I want to watch the game.
No, but the Pirate game, you won't find it, because if it's on the Major League package, it'll be blacked out in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
It won't be on.
I'm going to go. That's enough. And is Mercer playing tonight, you know?
Who's that?
Mercer for the Pirates.
No, Mercer's not playing tonight. He got hit. I'm sure you saw it.
Yeah, I saw him get hit.
It was scary. He got hit in the chest with that pitch last night, so he's not going. Gung is playing shortstop and batting eighth. We'll see how long he's out. Hopefully not too long, because they need him in there, especially even though he's not hitting to start the season, and he can sure field the heck out of shortstop, and you don't want him to miss too much time. Hopefully he'll be okay. But that's the only lineup change. Regular lineup otherwise. Gung's at shortstop and Burnett's pitching.
All
Okay.
right, I'm going to go for the Grand. I know there's more people on the call. I'm going to go on the Grand Salami number 3.
Okay. Is it
3? It's you.
My turn? Okay, we're looking at question number 3, guys, in the control room. Question number 3, Grand Salami. And here is the question. You got 20 seconds with which to answer. Who is the only NFL running back with over 3,000 career carries, averaging 5 yards a carry or more?
Oh, man, I know that. I just saw that.
10 seconds.
I want to say, I know it's not him, but Barry Sanders.
You got it.
Ooh.
Barry Sanders. We have a winner.
Yes. A salami winner.
I got it.
How about that?
Congrats.
Well, the closet is now empty.
Tony's happy.
Between Tony and you, the closet is now empty. Bill, congratulations, and I'll be in touch with you.
Yeah, I'll be home all week. Sorry to say this, but there's family issues going on. My mom's in the hospital, so Godspeed with her. But I'll be home all week after tonight.
It may be longer than that, so don't rush.
Okay, well, I'll be home middle of next week also.
All right.
All right, get well, Mrs. Haggard.
All right, Bill.
Okay, have a good one, guys.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So Bill is a winner, Mr. Tampa Bay.
Shocking.
Haven't heard from his brother in a while.
No, I haven't talked to Bob.
And,
Maybe you can see him down at the ballpark if he's back in his old spot. Hopefully he will be. I think he took a year off.
Looking at the log for Barry Sanders, just for the heck
He
of
was
it.
something, and he retired at such a young age too.
Yeah, let's
people
see,
didn't
playing
believe
his
it. He was
last
very much like Jim Brown. That he basically, but Barry Sanders didn't go to make bad movies with Raquel Welch like Jim Brown did.
Let's see, pro career. Let's see when he did.
I just think he was tired of beating, so he packed it in.
Detroit Lions. You know what? There's so much. I don't want to hem haw.
And a great player at Oklahoma State too.
1997
Was that
is
the
the
end?
year. No. Well, Barry Sanders' last season in the NFL, 1998.
Wow. And
Rushing for almost, he was 9 yards short of 1,500.
And he's still retired. People didn't believe it.
That's like a Sandy Koufax in baseball.
It is. People didn't believe
you
he
go
was
out with
actually going to go.
27 wins. You know.
Well, Koufax's arm was falling off, and that's why he had to. I saw him. He was on TV this week. I don't know if you saw him.
He's
He
got
was
a
talking-
birthday,
He was talking
by the
about
way.
Jackie Robinson, and I saw him. He still looks great, and what a terrific pitcher. Cut short, boy. You talk about injuries.
You know,
Now they probably would have been able to do some sort of an operation or something, some sort of treatment for him to keep him back, keep him out there.
Mark was asking the question, who do I think was faster, or what our opinion was, Drysdale or Marichal. There was a time, we're not going to get into that aspect of it, but there was a time, believe it or not, when both Drysdale and Koufax told the Dodgers, this is before free agency, we want this much money, or we're going to Hollywood and we're going to make a couple of movies. We don't need you, Dodgers.
Well,
it didn't last. One of them caved in earlier.
Well, I think they both ended up, and then they both came back.
They both came back.
And it's funny because, holdouts was, and in those days, what you need to remember is there was no free agency, so they couldn't just wait till they had played their 6 years and then go out and play for somebody else. If you were a Dodger, you were a Dodger until they said you weren't a Dodger anymore.
Right.
They traded you or they released you.
Even,
And
even
each year
if
was-
you retired.
And there was a contract, and there wasn't, Sandy Koufax thinking and say, okay, I'd like to work on a 4-year contract if that's no. You sign for this year, and then you sign for and then next year you sign for next year. So they were all working on 1-year deals, and this is what happened. And these guys were smart enough to know, since the union wasn't very much at the time, that we might be better off if we do this together instead of doing it separately. And then, it was a smart idea. I don't know if they had the same agent. I don't even know if they had agents back then. But they were the big deal out there, and they both did hold out, I guess, probably of spring training. I don't think they ever missed any games or decided to basically strike the season. But those two together, boy, when you had a series and you saw those two coming, you knew you were in trouble.
Last week we had popped the question to, let me see who it was. Where are we? I'm going to make this quick. Last week we had somebody on the line. The question was, I thought it was Bill who got it tonight, but not last week, that Ted Williams endorsed a particular cereal, and when they found out that he was looking for a lower draft classification, they dropped him. I didn't get a chance to mention this last week. The other side of the coin, Williams never picked up a spoon to have another bite of that cereal. So, and it was, what was it, Quaker Oats?
It was Quaker Oats.
Quaker
I said
Oats.
cream of wheat. I was really close.
Yeah. So that's the story there. And the other thing that really got my attention talking about old-time baseball was when Joe DiMaggio's parents, after Pearl Harbor, had been bombed. Now, DiMaggio's playing, but he is also in the military.
Right.
And they took DiMaggio's parents and considered putting them with another group of people that had come from another country and to put them in a camp and contain them. But they gave him instead some kind of an ID,
Right.
and they were only allowed 5 miles from their home.
They were from San Francisco.
And their father had that fishing boat.
Right.
So that was a tough way to make a living.
They,
How do I get down to the boat with this?
They were from San Francisco, and they were great players for the San Francisco Seals. All 3 brothers played for the Seals in the Pacific Coast League, which back in those days, you talk about a minor league, you got to remember there were only 16 major league teams.
Right.
So this was high level minor league baseball. These were all guys that would be in the major leagues right now, and there was no draft. You could go and the Yankees went with a check and say, you know, I think we want this DiMaggio kid because we think he could be a pretty good. They were right. It
Folks,
works out.
we got to wrap it up. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you for watching us tonight. We'll catch you next week at the same time, well, an hour earlier, same station. I'm Bob Tattern.
I'm Mike Mather.
And good night.
Thank you for watching Sportsline, brought to you by Ace Hardware, New Kensington, AKLC Studios in Leechburg, Arnold Furniture, 5th Avenue, Buffalo Bills, New Kensington, Fazio's Deli and Meats in Arnold, Highland Tire, Torrento and Natrona Heights, Mattio's Pizza and Subs, Breckenridge Heights, Resevich Family Funeral Homes, Lower Burl in Arnold, 380 Discount Warehouse, Murraysville, Tower Auto in Blawnox, and Westmoreland Insurance Services of New Kensington.